Dormen. The Dorset Business Mentoring Programme provides one-to-one mentoring support for small businesses across Bournemouth, Dorset and Poole. We're currently working with about 150 businesses, ranging from sole traders to medium-sized companies. And since it started in 2005, the programme has supported well over 500 businesses. Our volunteer mentors are all experienced business and professional people who give their time and expertise free of charge. Mentors can't work miracles, but they can help clients to review their operations and plans and act as a sounding board.
Dcrs, the Dorset Centre for Rural Skills, was started in 2003. We'd been in the building business for a very long time, mostly traditional and sustainable building, and we could see a huge skills shortage, which spread out equally into the world of rural skills. And with some funding from European funding, the chalk and cheese funding system, we took over the buildings and turned them into a training centre. We were finding that things like long-term planning and business plans were being put to one side just for the sake, just because we were doing the day-to-day running. So to be introduced to a mentoring facility was probably one of the best things that could have happened. We looked at creating a business plan for, even though we're not profit orientated, I mean, a business plan has results. Our results is numbers of people trained and success in the training, so that was the focus of the business plan. The mentoring process that we were doing with Trevor meant that we actually followed up the plans. There were some very specific things that Trevor helped us with. For instance, the course scheduling. We didn't understand why the courses weren't filled up at certain times, or the inefficiency of running certain courses, leaving a gap and then another course. For instance, there are 3 courses which go naturally together, and that is building with straw bales, lime rendering and building with earth, cob. And we worked with Trevor about putting these together to form one particular course which combined all 3. And that actually is very successful. We find that we've got people filling 3 courses where they might have only filled 1 before. So from purely numbers of bums on seats, this was very good because people were taking, there was a bigger uptake of courses. So he gave us a fresh pair of eyes to look at getting the right amount of numbers in. Part of the process very much was looking at where our income comes from, which you can sort of ignore because, you know, training people and creating training programs takes up all your mind. You don't necessarily think, well, where does the money come from? But we have very much been focusing on where our funding comes from and what our major costs are, which are the buildings. So we're now partway through to convert unused areas of the building to studios for local craftspeople. And the rental from that will give DCRS a lot more stability. You can spend a lot of time looking for funding, which you haven't got time to spend, and then you don't get the funding and you don't get paid for looking for it. So Trevor helped us look for much more efficient ways to achieve that funding. We're now working in routes that don't take us so much time, working with other organisations. So having spent the time with Trevor looking for these ways of finding funding, not actually the funding, but ways of finding the funding, we're moving ahead with more enthusiasm, because you tend to, going back to just dealing with the day-to-day running business, you get bogged down in it and there's a danger of losing heart, and you can't see a way forward. So if somebody comes in with the enthusiasm that he brought to it, it has rekindled our enthusiasm. I would recommend mentoring to any small business, and I'd recommend it even to a business who felt they didn't have any problems. or any need for it, because I think it can help anybody. In many ways, if you think your business doesn't need mentoring, you're probably missing something.